Always a pleasure to have the Secretary of Transportation and a member of President Joe Biden's cabinet. So thank you so much for joining us, Secretary.
Thank you for having me back.
You know, it's great to have you on, especially when there is good news for South Florida, and it's all related to the infrastructure law, which has been in the works now for close to 4 years. But let's talk about Miami, because there is a big number for reconnecting communities and I-395. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, we're very excited about this. One of the new programs created by President Biden's infrastructure package is called Reconnecting Communities and Neighborhoods. This is based on our knowledge that there are many places around the country in communities where a piece of infrastructure, which is meant to connect, can also wind up serving to divide. And we find that's true with I-395 and the way it cuts through downtown Miami. And the reason that we believe it's so important to act on this is we know that federal dollars went into those original designs that have created divisions. So we think federal dollars should go into creating a better, newer design for the future. In the case of I-395, that means as it needs work anyway, having it elevated and then creating a linear park that goes under the span of 395, a heritage trail that the city of Miami has been proposing and that we are proud to support with a $60 million grant. This is going to better connect the different sides of I-395, create new opportunities to walk through an area that should be walkable, but in too many cases isn't, even though it's so much in the heart of one of America's great cities.
And how does that trickle down to the residents of the city?
Well, as soon as construction begins, there will be good-paying jobs working on this project. And of course, the part we're most excited about, which admittedly will take longer, is for the project to be complete. Right now, there are not a lot of ways to walk between, say, Overtown and the Perez Art Museum. We have a chance to change that, and I can't wait to see the finished product. Again, it won't happen overnight, but the sooner we can get underway with construction, the sooner we can build toward that vision of a more walkable, connected, welcoming streetscape in downtown Miami.
So let's talk about Fort Lauderdale, which will also be getting some money. Can you tell us what that is for?
Yeah, so Fort Lauderdale is another example of a community where there are pieces of infrastructure that just aren't serving the role that you would hope, which is to connect and instead can get in the way. But whether it's Fort Lauderdale or any of 4 projects around Florida that are collectively getting more than $200 million, we're proud to be supporting these community visions, often bottom-up community visions that have been in the works for years, but just didn't have the funding until President Biden's infrastructure package passed.
As you mentioned, this is part of the over $200 million for Florida projects. And you also talked about some of the basics that the administration had promised. And in a bipartisan fashion, you were able to get some Republicans to cross the aisle and support this.
That's true. This infrastructure law was bipartisan. That doesn't mean every Republican and Democrat agreed on it, but a number of Republicans in the House and in the Senate crossed the aisle to work with President Biden, work with each other, work with me in order to put this funding in place. And I think what we're seeing now is it is benefiting communities in every part of the country, red, blue, and purple. This was put together by an application put together by Mayor Suarez's administration, but you also have a Democratic county mayor and a Republican governor and a Democratic presidential administration, all believing in the potential of this kind of infrastructure funding, as seen by all of the different partnerships between the Florida DOT, the county, the city, and our U.S. Department of Transportation that went into this. And I think, especially in a divided time like this, there is an opportunity for infrastructure not just to physically connect us, but to politically and socially connect us, because we can all agree on the value of fixing a bridge or improving a road or putting in a trail that is going to make everyday life safer, better, easier, more convenient, and sometimes even more affordable as we talk about transit options. These are good policies, and they're coming at just the right time.
Mr. Secretary, it's always great to have you on, especially when you bring us some good news for South Florida. Thank you.
Thank you. We're excited to make this announcement, and we know there will be more good announcements to come.